Everyone, welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. Jeez, my mind's gone blank. We are a podcast that likes to read volume stories and arcs that either ourselves or you choose. My name is Scott, and I'm joined, as always, by my good comic-y friends. We've got Shane.
Oh, hoi hoi.
We've got Philip.
Hola.
And today we are going to be talking about Mind Management Volume 1, published by Dark Horse and written and drawn by Matt Kindt.
Drawn.
Written and scribbled, written by Matt Kindt. Let's say hi to everyone. If you are a regular here, then welcome back, and if you are brand new, then welcome. Take a seat and enjoy the show. It's fantastic to see you. So let's go ahead and see who we've got. We've got James. What's up? Am I first in? Yes, you are. Welcome. He is unfashionably early. Martin's here. Thank you for joining, bud. Nice to see you. John is here. Hey, buddy. Thank you for joining. And Comic Bound here. I'm not going to read that big comment. I haven't even had time to read it yet. Connie's here. Hey. Thank you. And, oh my God, everyone. Dominic is here on time.
Wow.
We need one of those like buttons to just celebrate every time he actually turns up on time. And Rich is here saying hi. Does this mean you're staying because you're not?
Nope,
you
check the
haven't
next
said...
comment.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wow, that is brilliant. So that is all of the herd we've got so far. Hopefully we'll have some more people join. But I will give us all a little synopsis about Mind Management, which was my pick this week. So, reporting on a commercial flight where everybody aboard loses their memories, a young journalist stumbles onto a much bigger story, the top secret mind management program. Her ensuing journey involves weaponized psychics, hypnotic advertising, talking dolphins, and seemingly immortal pursuers as she attempts to find the flight's missing passenger, the man who was mind management's greatest success and its most devastating failure. But in a world where people can rewrite reality itself, can she trust anything she sees? So that was it, pretty much. To be fair, that explained the story better to me than when I read it.
Really?
I was reading that just now and I've gone, oh, okay. I must have skimmed past that part. But yes, so that is my management. That's the gist of it. And we are now going to head on over to Shane to tell us what he thought initially about the book.
When I finished it, I did kind of wish that it was it was a normal novel. I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I hadn't had to look at that, like any of that. But if it was just words, I would have enjoyed it a lot more because the story's really good. The idea is really good. The concept's great. The world's great. It's just that art is so off-putting.
It's quite jarring, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I audibly, I laughed out loud on the first page. I opened it and the first page was there and I stopped and I just laughed. And I was like, right, I know what I'm in for now. So I got comfy and I continued, but it did make me laugh out loud. It was so bad. Like with the two fighting, like they're like on a patio somewhere, I think, and they fall over the edge. Like he just grabs her out of nowhere and they just fall. And it's like, it was hilarious. The faces, the bodies.
When they're fighting, they kind of look like puppets, like big cushiony puppets, kind of flailing at each other. That's
just see Kermit running in the background. Like,
this is going to be a good one. Okay. All right, Phil, what did you think, mate?
Right, okay. This wasn't art. I'm going to give Matt Kindt a bit of credit here. I think he written this really good story, and he thought to himself, I need to find an artist. I'll draw some concept art of how I want things to be, just quick scribbles, and then give this to somebody, and somebody do the art. That's what I think was meant to happen, because there's no way he created this book with that art, and that's his final product, and he's happy with that. I can't be. There's no way. It's
That's
dreadful.
one of my notes exactly. This is the rough idea a writer has and sends it off to a real artist to make it look good. That's what I have in my notes.
Surely, if he didn't intend to release it with that art, then he just would have waited.
I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm trying to
justify it.
Yeah, that should be the reason, but the art is dreadful. And the thing is, like, the story was actually really good. And I mean, indie books especially have art that doesn't always look good. Like, I'll give you an example. Deadly Class art isn't spectacular art, but it really suits the story and the kind of vibe of the book.
Yeah.
This doesn't for me at all. And if you think all our books that we've read, like Witchblade, that was a terrible story, but the art was okay. I feel like if you mash them two together, then we've got a book.
But see, the thing with Deadly Classes, it might not have been great art, but the page layouts were a lot more dynamic. This is very bog standard square layouts. There's just cubes. That's it. It was nothing.
Adam is coming in saying he loves the art. No, he doesn't love the art.
No.
He's doing one of those emojis. It's going to be really good for the podcast. But Martin's with you there as well, Shane. He enjoyed the story, but the art. He has a nice sick emoji there with it. Connie, she said, I'm worried after the beauty of Kingdom Come, I'll never think a book has good art again. I like the watercolours of the art, but not how the characters looked. The backgrounds were pretty. Okay.
Kingdom Come was only okay, by the way. That's fine.
Don't you dare. John, though, he's saying he didn't mind the artwork. He actually liked the rough watercolors, and it was the writing that he didn't enjoy. So it was kind of the other way around for John. And okay, we'll oh yeah. But Adam is also saying he does love the art. He means it. He's serious.
His point above that, that's
yes.
something I noted down, that it is quite creepy, especially with the immortals, the way the art's drawn, the way they're drawn. I find it quite creepy. But then that's the only kind of benefit, the only good thing I could say about the art, that it was done creepily well.
Yeah. So I think my thing with the art is I just kind of detached myself from just judging it, I guess. I was like, this is what it is. I'm just going to have to go with it because I have to read this story for the nerded. I chose this book. And I then try to kind of justify Matt Kindt's reasoning for drawing this. And the only thing I could, reasonably come up with was the fact was this his own, like, interpretation of how he sees things in his mind. Was this supposed to be like, if you try to think of something, it's not dead clear all the time. You have fuzzy details and not everything is clear. So I was like, this is a book all about the mind. Was he trying to draw this from, like, exactly how he sees it in his mind's eye kind of thing? You know what I mean? That was the only kind of justification I could have without him just going, you know what? I can't draw, but I'm going to give it a go. Here we go. Let's get some watercolors and crack on. But that's it. I
kind of see where you're going with that, but I also kind of feel like if that was the case, maybe, the part where I forget his name, the guy who she's chasing down, the fact she finds him in the end. I can't remember his name at the minute, but that part where he's kind of has line, he has the flashbacks and stuff like that there. If you may change the art for that, and this was that, maybe, but I don't know. It's hard to justify the art because my view is, and sometimes we talk about comic books and it's like, what draws you to the book? Is it the story? Is it the art? Is it the character? Whatever. It's certainly not the art of this. If you did not know what this was on the shelf, and number one's on the shelf, and you pick it up and you flick through it, putting that straight back, you would not buy this book.
The only thing that would draw you would be the synopsis.
Yeah, or if you're a Matt Kindt fan, you know what he's done in the past. It's just like, I just find that then you're kind of, what's the word, like you're narrowing your audience as such, like by excluding people who like good looking books. Do you like art on our books? Yes. Don't buy this book. If you're not thoughts on that art, this is the book for you. It just feels like it was too jarring, to be honest.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could be overlooking the fact that he might be super talented and he might have drawn this at the same time as writing it. Like he might be ambidextrous. He might
Like
have
those
just been
two
doing it
sisters.
both.
Yeah, like the
Is
sisters.
it the Perrier sisters that they're called?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
One writes and one draws, but he has the power of both of them together.
yeah.
Yeah. So
He
he's just
is
got
the
both
Perry
hands going at
influence.
the. Yeah. So he's just writing and drawing at the same time.
Yeah.
Either that or he just wanted his name on the book. He wanted only his name. Maybe it was his baby, you know, and he didn't want anyone else to have any creative input. It was his.
Do it myself.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the story deserves better art in a way.
100%.
Like, I get that it's his baby and he wants to create something for himself. I understand that too, but I feel like you don't have to be a well-known artist, just an actual artist, like somebody who can, you know, draw faces, you know, even a little bit more than you can, and then you're going to have a better book.
Yeah. Speaking of drawing, before we came on, we all decided to do a little drawing ourselves, just to showcase how we felt about the book in one drawing. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go on then, Shane.
Get mine
Show's
out of the
yours.
way. I did me as a Simpson character, just rolling my eyes.
With the speech bubble, that's not
art.
Okay. All right. Philip.
I'm not an artist. I mean, I'm actually Matt Kindt's a better artist than me. So
Whoa.
I kind of just had, I don't know, some visual aids. I give a tick for the story of a character that looks like one of the immortals going pop, because pop
Right.
is very prevalent, and this is a steaming pile of turd,
Wow. Okay.
and that's the art.
Wow.
But it has
Okay.
nuggets, it has like bits in it and stuff.
Oh.
This is what I think of the art. Bear in mind, guys, I was asked to do this like 30 seconds
I
before we
know.
went live.
I just drew the meh emoji guy. You know, like this is you know, just a bit of fun in it. But yeah, so that's what we thought. It was just a bit of fun, and I think I agree with James in the comments here. He says that art is subjective. And I totally agree here. Like, I did like a different style from what we usually get from Marvel. That's what he said. And that's cool. You know, there is no standard for art in comics. Like, you know, the standards we all impose ourselves onto comics, those are the standards. But there are no rules. You know what I mean? Like, just, you know, companies saying the art must be this good to this standard, clean lines, nice colours, whatever, right? But you know, and it is just totally subjective, and he's done what he wants, and like I could follow the story, like it's doing what it should do. I'm following the story. I know what is happening. It's just not the best thing to look at. You know, it's no Dan Mora for me. You know, and stuff like that. Dan Mora, my favorite artist.
No, but the thing is, as a creative, you should know your limitations.
Yeah.
You know, if you're good at writing, you're good at world building, you're good at character development, then that's great. You know, but when you draw something and you subjectively you have to look at that. You did that, and you know that's not good. You have to know. You can't have an ego that big where you don't know that that's not good. So then you know you've got friends in the industry. You ask one of them, "Can you help me out? Can
Even
you
the
design?"
editor, you know.
Yeah, you know, you've got to get the right mix of art and story. You know, you wouldn't have a horror book with like really cutesy Disney drawing,
Like
and then
the
you
My Little
wouldn't have,
Pony artist.
yeah, and then you wouldn't have like a family friendly comic book with this dark, gritty, blood and guts artist. You know, you have to get the right mix, and if you can't do it yourself, which unfortunately he can't, just get someone in. I'm sure Image has a ton of artists on standby that are willing to step up. You know, that they can just contact. Sorry, not Image, Dark Horse.
Yeah. Go on, Phil.
I seen today on Instagram, you know, someone who we know in the community, Retro Realm.
Yeah.
He's drawn his own comic. That is 10 times better looking than anything in this book. That one page he's done, I would rather read that. Look at that than look at the art in this book. Like,
It sounds like it's offended you.
it hasn't offended me, but it has annoyed me because the story was actually really good. I really enjoyed the story, and I would like to know what happens, but I'm not going to look at that again. I don't
You're
want
not
to
going to
read it.
carry on.
I'm not carrying on because I can't look at it. It's
See,
not pleasant.
this story is actually really highly regarded from a lot of people. Like Dean, for instance, he loves mind management. This was like one of his top picks when we did that thing for Off My Shelves a long time ago for Dark Horse, and yeah, it's just clear that some people can either see past the art or just are not bothered by the art and just love the story for what it is, or they like the fact that it's different, like James did. But it just seems like for the three of us, it's just a bit.
But I can look past the art most of the time. Most of the time, it just becomes background noise to my eyes, and I just read the
Yeah.
book. But this was so intrusive, I could not stop. It wouldn't disappear. It was just so bad for me.
All right,
I feel
okay.
bad saying it because I know obviously he's put a lot of work in. But like Phil, I would read on if this was a novel, not a comic.
There were some pages though that were okay. In that, do you remember the part where him and her were getting chased by the immortals, and they were like just fleeing them different times throughout? The art then wasn't so bad because I think there was less on the page. If you know what I mean, like I don't mean, I don't mean like if you don't draw nothing, it's better. I just meant like it didn't look as if like he was trying to do faces too much. He wasn't focused on the face. He was focusing on trying to portray the action in the scene as opposed to the actual how they look.
Yeah. Okay. There's a few people now jumping in the chat saying they like the art. Okay. So we got Adam says, I'm a bit gutted at all the negativity here. I know it's not for everyone, but I don't think you're giving him enough credit for the art. Personally, for the art, I'm on the fence. I'm not hating it, but I'm not particularly loving it. And then we've got Omnifrog as well saying, hello, my first time in the chat. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Count me as loving Matt Kindt's art. We'd love to know why you guys like this art so much. And no, not as in like, oh my God, why? Like, but tell us why. Like I am more than happy. I'm very open to have my mind changed and stuff like that. And I'm sure you guys are as well. Everyone's opinion is welcome here and it's all fine. But it'd be really interesting to know why.
I do actually kind of. Connie had left a comment. I love to see how this, how he draws everything, or was this a creative choice? And that's
I
true.
was thinking that.
If he's chosen to do it this way, then he also has his reasons, and I kind of respect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if this is like his limitations, I just think then know your limitations and maybe
like
pass it on.
If someone in the chat knows as well, was this on purpose? Like, did he do this style on purpose?
Adam does say it's pretty much his style.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, there it is then, isn't it? All right. Well,
so he's drawn other books. What else has he drawn? So I know not to read.
You'll know not what to read because you'll see straight away, Phil.
Okay, so Connie is trying to justify her liking for the art. I really do like the watercoloring approach to comics. I think it really works in places like when Meru and Henry are on the boat and when she's in the jungle, etc. But I like seeing expression.
I agree. The jungle stuff was done really well.
Yeah.
Like the city part when they're in like New York. I mean, they could have been anywhere. It didn't really like. The art did lend itself to kind of showcase the background as such in those pages.
Okay, well, should we get on to our pages?
Yeah.
The stuff we chose we like. I'll try and go in chronological order, I think. So, Phil, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the CIA agent. Again, I forget his name. And this is just them running away from some of the immortals. And it's not too bad. It's not the worst page in the book. And that's literally all the kind of reason why I picked it. But I do think it kind of does well to portray the bit of action, like jumping off the building from one to the other, almost slipping and then lifting each other up off the railings and so on. Again, even like the color palette used, very bland, but that's okay. But I mean, look at the faces. Really, to be honest, they're not good. And they've got weird shaped feet, weird shaped bums, weird shaped shoulders, weird hair.
Okay, point taken. And then I think it's Shane next.
But yeah, so I couldn't pick a page, honestly. It wouldn't be fair because I would have just been quiet when it was on screen. But I did actually like this cover. I think this is issue 4.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's a really nice dolphin actually. So he can draw something. So like,
Well done,
Okay.
you, Matt
Okay.
Kindt.
Maybe
yeah.
let's turn down the condescension. And
No, but like that's a really nice dolphin. So
okay,
yes, that's why I picked that.
because it's okay. All right. Okay. So here's mine.
Because I like the page.
Here's mine. So this is
So,
when Henry and his lover lady, I can't remember, was it Natasha? I can't remember, or Natalie or something. They were kind of, on a date in the woods, kind of thing, in the jungle, and he is using his mind abilities to make them look like they're underwater, and there's some fish floating around and some birds flying around as well, and it's really cool to kind of be able to have it visualized for you, how Henry's ability works and what other people are seeing when he is implanting these kind of visions and stuff in their mind. Yeah, and the jungle is great. I think I think it's drawn really well. I like it. It kind of reminds me of like a Roald Dahl kind of style. The way the
Yeah.
jungle is drawn, I quite like that. Yeah,
again though, look at the fish. They're really well done.
yeah.
So he can draw animals.
Yes, you can. You can. And we did have 2 viewers' pages as well. I'll do them in the order that we got them. So the first one we had was Connie's, and she is in the chat. And she did tell me as well why she picked it, which I can get for you right now as I'm trying to speak to not have silence while I look for it. So she said, I like watercoloring. I like watercolor paintings, and I think it was the first page that made me go, "Ooh, that's cool."
See, it would have it because this should have been like a big wow moment in the book. When he sees her like this, and like had it been drawn better, it would have been because like the layout, like that appearance with all the dragons and the background should wow you.
Yeah.
But I wasn't wowed, unfortunately. I was just like, meh.
All right, Phil.
Yeah, I mean this looks okay. And you're right. I don't want to be too harsh on the art, even though I've been pretty harsh so far. There are some pages like this do obviously stand out, and they are better than the majority of the book. And like I said before, he's obviously wants the credit for this entire book for himself. That's grand, and he's done better than any of us 3 would do. Essentially, there's a lot of people cannot do what he's done here, and he obviously gets credit for that. My disappointment or my issue with the art, and I'm not kind of knocking any kind of technical ability to draw people. It's just the story deserved better. That's where I'm coming from, and that's the only part. I'm not trying to like crap
Yeah,
over anybody.
right.
The story deserved better.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. And then we did have one more page as well from Branded One Arch, and it's the cover. I think it's for the 5th issue. This is Lime, looking all cool with his glasses, and some action is going on in the reflection of his glasses as well. He didn't give any reason why he liked this page, but this was his page pick. So yeah, pretty cool.
Is that done by Matt Kindt, or with the covers done?
I think
by
so.
Matt Kindt?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they were.
I think that kind of art there, if he had continued that throughout the whole book, it would have been raised up a notch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say hi to some people. So Ian from Hood Rat Comics is in. Hey guys, thank you for joining. And Sean is here as well. Evening peeps. Hello, how you doing? So Omnifrog gave his justification. He says, for me, there is a beauty in the simplicity of his art, and I also love the watercolour. He also does a great job bending perspective to make things seem surreal.
I didn't get that in the book, any surrealness. Because you were promised, what's real, what's not, as she follows the story. I didn't get any mind-bending pages or panels that made me think what I was seeing wasn't real.
Yeah.
Not because of the art, but the part in the story wherever he was kind of reflecting on, does his wife or his girlfriend really love him? Does his daughter love him? Then I started to really think about what is real. Is any of this what we're seeing real in the story?
Yeah.
So it wasn't the art that was doing that for me. It was definitely just the story.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the story then.
Cool.
For me, it was very. It was right. The first half really enticed me. I was pretty much like, okay, cool. I'm really enjoying where this is going. What's the whole thing with the amnesia flight? And then you see the CIAs and you learn about the immortals. And then when we got to the last half of it, for me, I seemed to drop off. I didn't seem to enjoy it as much. It was, I was really enjoying the journey and the mystery of it all. And then I think I was a little bit underwhelmed by the reveal of everything that was going on as well. So yeah, I felt like the reveal of the whole thing didn't match the kind of mystery of the journey you were going on. It was cool though, at the end where you do realize, has she done this before? Well, she has done this before, isn't it? Like, because he was like, oh, she's getting closer, she's changing and whatever. So how many times has Meru been through this? And what is Henry gonna do next time? And it's
See, whenever you pick this, and I'm thinking off the back of what was that book we read, the Grant Morrison book, Nameless.
yeah,
And it was a bit of a mind effing book, and I was thinking, is this going to be the same? I have to read this and really think about it, and it's going to kind of mess with my mind while I'm reading it. Luckily, it didn't, so I kind of wasn't looking forward to it, and I think maybe that kind of lowered my level of expectation on the story. I kind of disagree with what you said, Scott. I think the start of the story kind of trotted along nicely, building the kind of the characters up, and then the last two issues I thought were really good. The fact that it's one complete full circle, and we're right back to the very start again.
Oh yeah, I totally enjoyed that part.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I want to read on more, because it's like we've had this arc of 6 issues, and essentially we're back to the same point. But us as the reader, knows a lot more. So now for like the second arc, they can just take off and do what they want with it. The whole thing with Henry, like not believing that his girlfriend really loves him, and his daughter loves him, and like him coming to terms of he thinking he's on gardening leave from the program, but really he's being used to kind of in the background still have like peace talks and oil prices or whatever. I thought that was really clever and really cool.
Yeah,
and I liked as well the at the end of every issue, and they kind of introduced like a character who's obviously a member of the program, the mind management program, and obviously utilize them in different ways. Like the guy who draws or designs ads in the paper,
yeah,
and the two girls we mentioned before, like write stories in a certain way to kind of sway the audience, whatever else. And then the other guy, again, I'm terrible remembering his name, but he was the one at the end he was talking to on the phone, who was
the
he
guy who could
retrieved
see the future.
yeah, he retrieved the
Yeah.
parcel from being delivered to her at the very end. I thought he was really cool, so I am
Yeah.
definitely intrigued with the whole program of mind management.
Yeah, the fact files at the end were
Yeah.
very cool. I did enjoy
Yeah.
them. It's just a shame we didn't see them get integrated more into the story, but maybe we will in the future.
Yeah, I just think that this just sets it up really nicely, and I'm not sure how many volumes there are. I think there's a good
There's
30,
there's,
isn't there?
there's 3 omnibuses,
Yeah.
Oh,
3 hardcovers, big hardcovers for this. So thinking a lot.
see, I really enjoyed this. This was the story was really good. I really enjoyed Muru as Meru.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Like, I really enjoyed. Like, you see her, she's down in the dumps. She wakes up and she's like, "Oh, why have I never got any food? Why is the fridge always empty?" Like, great way to start the book, because it ends exactly the same way. But I do have 2 small problems. One, she tells you in the first issue that her book's never going to come out and be published, so it ruins the ending. So you're like, she's going to get her mind wiped by the end of the book. Then when she meets Henry at the end, you're like, he's going to erase her mind. So there's no surprise when it comes to that final issue that she's going to be completely mind wiped, because she tells you in the first issue. Like the book's never, or I think it's Henry doing the voiceover, and he's like, she doesn't know it now, but her book will never come out. And it's like, right, well, this is obviously how the book is going to end. I was a little bit disappointed. They didn't need to put just that one little box, take that out, and then come the last issue, then you figure out, he's going to erase her mind, so she doesn't remember any of this. But I really enjoyed her as a character. She just wanted to know the truth, and what's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
she wasn't a bad person. You know, it was really nice to follow a character that wasn't a narcissist. You know, wasn't as self-involved with a Mary Sue. She wasn't great at everything. It was really nice to read a normal human character that was just thrown into this supernatural world and just had to deal with it.
She's just kind of the wrong place at the wrong time in terms of being in that city whenever everyone's massacring everyone else, and he obviously sees this girl and takes her in, and then controls her from that point. So the flight was obviously for him to disappear under the radar or whatever, but it's like, you know, she didn't have to be involved in it. If he had just left her be in the city, she might have died, to be fair, but, you know, it's just, I like the idea that she's obviously very much heavily linked with him from that point onwards. And I
Go
ahead.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, when it came to him trying to disappear, like the idea where she was connecting all the dots, like the city of Mexico, or I think it was Mexico, they went somewhere else.
Zanzibar?
But that's the end, like where they went at the end. But it's like, so he left these breadcrumbs, but that was all him just trying to like evade capture every time. So he had to mind or wipe people's minds and so on. So she was then brought to these areas, was then brought into him in the end. And again, setting it up for the next volumes, because as you mentioned, he has said that she's different, she's stronger, she's she's evolving, and I just think she's going to get there at some point. She will deliver those books to herself one day. You know, it will happen, and she'll write that book.
Adam's coming back. To something you said earlier, Phil. So he's like, I thought the whole real versus not real was more about Lime and his world around him, and how he might have just been bending everything to his will.
I assumed that anyway.
Yeah,
that was heavily implied.
Yeah,
he 100%. But then when his wife comes out and she's like, actually, your powers don't work on me, so I did love you, but now I'm leaving, so bye.
Yeah.
But I mean, she didn't just leave. I mean, that's the one thing as well with his family. They were hacked to death, and that was it. You didn't
because of him.
Yeah, but you didn't see any kind of like emotional kind of. He obviously was emotional, I'm sure. Like you can tell the whole thing's he's hiding for a reason. That's brought him down. But there was no kind of emotional scene with them getting killed. It's just like one wee line, oh, they're dead, hacked to death in the street. That was it. And then he just picks up some random little girl, and takes her in, and then it's just. So I suppose that way there is a bit of an emotional pull that was missed, I suppose, because
I think by that point he'd done so much. He just assumed he was controlling everything. It just sort of killed him inside, which I suppose it would if you never ever knew if someone liked you because they liked you or because you were just emitting this ability that subconsciously you didn't even know you were doing. Because he was trying. There was that scene where he's like, oh, here, this is for free. And he's like, no, of course I'll pay you. And he's like, no, I don't want you to pay me. It's like he wasn't even trying to make the guy give him something for free. It was just happening because his ability was just so powerful.
Yeah.
And he thought the CIA was picking up the tab. So.
Like the only like real world comparative I can think for that situation is like, if you're mega rich and you've got friends, are they really your friends? This was how I was trying to understand this whole situation. And I totally agree. Like I think it was totally justified how he went a bit mental and doubted everything and just couldn't figure out what was going on, what was real and what wasn't, and who was his friend and who wasn't his friend, that kind of thing. And I did feel for the guy, and it's no wonder he was just sitting on a boat in the middle of a lake or a ocean or whatever it was. Connie was saying, I think this book would have really benefited from like a Once and Future style art. I don't know who draws that. It's my favourite artist. It's Dan Mora. That'd be amazing.
My God. Don't tease me, Connie. That would have been fantastic. I would have loved that. I'd be raving about this book from start to finish if that were the case.
Adam is coming in again. He's saying the emotional fallout from that scene wasn't expressed through line, but it was expressed by the world around him starting to hack itself to pieces. I thought that was quite powerful imagery. It totally was. The fact that he was, how emotional he was from his partner leaving him, and then he is just causing everyone to just go mental. Wasn't it like 10,000 people had died? They said in like an article later on in it, 10,000 people killed each other. But then the ad man changed it so it was a tsunami or a flood or something. Yeah,
I guess they just dumped the bodies in the ocean, didn't they? From like the naval ship, just threw them in.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that part of it, kind of CIA. Have their
Cover up
hands
stuff.
Yeah, this kind of they have their hands as kind of the people with these abilities. They're covering things up like that, and even like the immortals. I love the way that Henry has he has their number. Like they're quite threatening, and obviously they were chasing her at the start, and they would have killed her, of course. But when it comes to Henry, they can't do anything to him. He has them every time, so he's obviously killed them or whatever way they died multiple times, and he just keeps coming back and keep coming back. And I like that. I do have I understand the purpose of the CIA agent. I forget his name. The long hair one.
Paul.
Is it Paul?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I understand the purpose of him to kind of keep the story trotting along, kind of inform her of certain things.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and also at the end, his mind was wiped because he was the one drawn on the pottery and stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't think he needed to be in it that much. I don't know. I quite liked him, but at the same time, he's just a periphery character. You just discard him and that's it.
Bill.
Is it
I
Bill?
think he just needed to be in it to guide. Mary and just be her sort of bodyguard-esque type thing. But she didn't need one. It turned out she was a badass. She was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was quite natural how she was kind of brought into this kind of scenario with the immortals chasing after her, and then the CIA knocking on the door saying, they're coming, kind of thing, and then she's just thrown into this world. I thought that was quite seamless.
They won't kill you, which was like, oh, why won't they kill her?
Yeah,
like,
and this is why
they want to get to Henry.
This is why I was really enjoying the first half of it, because there was this whole mystery about it, and then just things started to unfold, and I was just slightly underwhelmed. But I really like I really like the thing that Phil mentioned earlier. I didn't think about this. Yes, we've read this whole volume, and it's one self-contained story that started all over again. So what's volume 2 going to be like? Is that going to be her going again, but now with different things happening, and her meeting Henry again at the end, but it's slightly turning out
hopefully
different?
volume 2. Well, I say hopefully. I'm not going to read it, unfortunately, because I can't put myself through that. I would like to. I might try and find some other reviews of it, but volume 2's surely got to be more with the mind management side.
Yeah,
because we can't do this again. I mean, it would be quite mind bending if every volume starts and ends exactly the same.
Like
that
a
would
Groundhog Day type thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I liked as well about the whole the agent on the phone, her agent. It's like, oh, not this again. We've been here before, so this is maybe. It makes me think, has this
who's
happened?
Her agent?
Yeah,
I'm not
is
sure,
he part of?
I don't know.
He works for Henry.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking it was the older guy again. Forget his name. Terrible names.
Bill.
But
the time guy.
The time guy.
Future. The guy who can see the future.
But I quite like the idea that the agent is involved somehow, in terms of maybe her handler or something. I don't know, or just there to watch her or whatever. But I also like the idea that this has probably happened a couple of times already. Every time she's getting closer and getting near the answer she needs, and that's why I think the volume 2. And I agree with Shane. I want to see more of the mind management program. I want to see more of that stuff as well. But even volume 3, then just kind of take off and get closer to the answer. Maybe even Henry comes and says, "Well, okay, I'll talk you through it," or whatever. There's going to be something else to give. But I don't know. I do like the way the volumes kind of come full circle. We're right back to the start.
Yeah.
So us as a reader, we have everything we need now to take off for the next one. Again,
but we can also stop. You could also stop. Like if this was a movie and that was the end of the movie, you'd leave the cinema and you'd be like, that was a complete story. There could be a sequel, but I don't have to watch a sequel because I can just assume she'll just keep doing that again and again and again. never ever getting out of that loop. So it was really, really good the way
thing
it
is,
ended.
you mentioned movie there. I actually see this, even this one arc, as like I forget that TV show. It's on Sky Atlantic. It's all kind of weird. Westworld, is it? Is it
Yeah.
Westworld? So things like Westworld, a wee bit kind of psychological kind of thriller type thing as well, a wee bit, and then likes of Lost. There's some big Lost fans here in the chat, Adam. I didn't like Lost, but I see this kind of thing being that kind of TV show rather
Kind
than
of
a
vibe,
movie.
yeah.
Just kind of continue on for what was Lost 26 seasons, for God's sake. That kind of idea where you just kind of keep going on and add new layers because it's a psychological thing that you can go back and do it all. But yeah, but like I say, I'm not going to read on. If anyone knows any good YouTube videos that we could watch on Volume 2, let us know and we'll watch them instead.
I mean, hopefully they make a show out of this because I would watch the hell out of it. I would binge that in a day.
Yeah, I would do.
Connie thinks that the book agent works for the future guy because he paid to send her to Mexico after suddenly finding a clue about Henry, even though this has already happened before.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to give her any more money, and he's like, all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I've paid for a trip to Mexico for you,"
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, he definitely works for Henry in some capacity, even if he doesn't even know it. Like Henry might have just put it into his mind. When she asks for something, you give it to her. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And here's a fantastic little Easter egg from Adam. There was a nod to Lost in this book. The amnesia flight is called Flight 815, which is the plane from Lost.
I wondered. I was reading it, and I was like 815. I was like, why do I know? Why is that number so familiar? I didn't even think of Lost. I don't know what I was thinking of, but it was so familiar. But yeah, of course it is 815.
I didn't know that because I didn't watch Lost, but I do, and I know like Damon Lindelof, as Connie Brown's mentioned, is a co-creator of Lost. I knew that part, but that's why I was thinking that maybe Matt Kindt is very heavily influenced by the show that he obviously enjoyed in Lost, and I think that's where I was going to get in that comparison. But yeah.
So, do you think Miru is going to get Miru? I've called her something different every single time. I don't know how to say the name.
I'm going to say Meru.
I keep forgetting her name. It doesn't matter.
So do you think she has the same abilities as the members of Mind Management? Like, does she have something he's suppressed all this time, and him keep using his powers on her is slowly bringing her power to the surface?
Yeah, like why is she? Like, was it literally just him picking her up randomly from the wreckage, or did he send something in her and picked her up because of that?
Because he could easily put into her mind, "Never search for me," and she would never search for him.
And that'll be it.
You know, so
yeah.
So she's got to have something, hasn't she?
But then I can't remember who said this. Is probably her like narrating the book, but like Henry explaining everything to her was his therapy as well.
Yeah, like the confession book.
Yeah, like
phone her up.
Was this not set in like the 80s or something? Is that it's back in the...
They had landlines.
Across the world? I don't know. It could be very expensive.
I feel like we haven't given the kind of justice this book. Well, we have a bit. Like the story, we've all sung the praises of the story. It's been great. I think I'm just holding on to the negativity of the art earlier on, but maybe I don't think I'm understanding the full thing. Maybe I read it. Maybe I was distracted or something. But you're talking about stuff, and I'm just going, oh right, okay. Like I'm not sure. Maybe I wasn't intelligent enough to read this, or I was just distracted or something, or just things weren't clicking for me. And but that's it.
Don't put yourself down, Scott. You are very intelligent to read this book.
Thanks.
And Adam has made a comment there too. And I tried to read these, like I thought it was every page, every other page had like text around the.
I read the first page and assumed every page said exactly the same thing because I wasn't going to read it.
I knew they were different, but because I was reading,
they were different.
Because I was reading on my tablet, and I was turning to read it, like I kept auto rotate. I was like, I'll forget that. I'm not going to try for
I
I'm not going to
thought
do it.
I thought it was a
Ah,
really clever, like, standard form from Mind Management that he was filling in.
No,
So I thought it was the same text on every page, and I only
ah.
read the first page. Oh
field
no.
I've
guide
got it.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it up here, and I'm just looking now, and yeah, I can't believe I've missed all that. They're like, yeah, field guide things, so like 4.20 and stuff like that, and it just ah,
That's the
oh
thing.
yeah,
I,
I tried to read it, but I gave up on it because it kept auto rotating on the tablet, and I was
I
like, forget this.
I
yeah. All
honestly
right,
thought
so
it was the same thing on every single page. So if
mm,
Adam tell me if I need to go back and read all 200 pages again.
Yes, you do. You
like
should.
it wasn't on every page. It was like either every other or something like that. So John, you read it really quickly in literally just over an hour. Did you feel the same as me then? Did you read it too quick, or did it click for you? How was it? Because I read it in bits. If you read it in one go, how was it like for you? And how did you guys read it? Did you read it in one hit or separated?
I had
It,
to. If I put it down, I probably wouldn't pick it back up
Right.
because of
Yeah.
the art.
Sure.
no, I read the first 4 issues last night and the final two today, but it wasn't to do with the fact that it was pure art or it was just timing thing. But I did try to take my time with this
Yeah.
because of Nameless, because I was afraid of it was going to be like another Nameless, this kind of like, mind effing type of, story. So I'll give myself more time to read it.
Yeah.
I should have given this time to Kingdom Come last week, I should have swapped it about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did take my time, but again, I said that like Adam said, there was clever stuff and the stuff around the edges, but I gave up.
Yeah. I feel really gutted now that I've missed that. Maybe it's because I read it digital and I didn't have it full, full comic sized in my face. And yeah, I just thought the same as Shane, that it was just said the same on every page. But I know that the top writing said the same, but I didn't even acknowledge that there was writing up the side. John was saying it didn't click at all. He just doesn't think he got it. So maybe me and John are definitely on the same wavelength here. But maybe it's just a different, for people who think certain ways, they'll get on really well with this book, and others may not, and they might not understand it. And Martin is saying, I did this in one sitting, but I'm now thinking I should have taken my time with it. Maybe this is just something we've all just rushed, and
No,
Adam is
I
the
mean,
only one who's only got it.
I did it in one sitting, but I did take my time. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I did read it carefully and slowly because I was paying more attention to the words than the pictures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think like kind of like the field note thing, the kind of vibe I was getting from it was that the whole thing was like a case study almost. Like maybe that Miru or Mayra or whatever freak her name is like. They don't quite know her abilities yet, type thing. So she's the case study. I don't know. That's just kind of what I was kind of thinking. But then I didn't care enough to try to really get into it.
I'll just leave that there.
Okay. Marie. There's too many names in this. There's only like 3 names, really, to be fair. But it's just. But the problem with getting through the book so quickly too, and it is to do with the art. Unfortunately, I think if this was more pleasing, extravagant art, or you would spend more time looking at the page, where there is an element of I'm just going to read this just to get not to get through it, but just to kind of read the words and not take in the pictures, not take in the art. And I think if the art was better, you maybe would spend a bit more time on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam saying it was on most pages, the field notes, only really skipping for the bigger splash pages. I don't know if going back and reading it will change your opinion much, Shane, but I think you would appreciate the cleverness. I definitely acknowledged the cleverness, but again, I think I'm just on the same thing with John here. I've just missed something here and there throughout the whole story.
Are you going to read it again, Scott?
It depends how much time I've got. I've been very busy lately, so if I have the time and I've read all of my own stuff, then yeah, maybe.
And serious question too: if you read this, and because you've mentioned before, you like a good, clever book that makes you kind of think a bit more.
See, this is why I thought I'd enjoy it, and I'm a bit gutted I've missed out. Yeah,
That's why I knew you. Like whenever you picked it made sense why you picked this type thing for me anyway. But so, will you? If you were to read this again, pick up more in the second reading, do you think you will read on?
I think I would. Like, I think I'd buy it. I think I'll buy volume 1 to get it physically instead. And I think for me, I give more time to the physical ones, And yeah, I think I will pick up more stuff, and I'll understand it a bit more, and I may be on the same kind of wavelength as Adam, and we know Dean loves it as well, and maybe I might join that crew.
This is the thing. Like Dean and Adam, I'm not trying to say like they're old, but they're experienced comic book readers in terms
Yeah.
of like we know the kind of stuff that they read, and they do appreciate things a little bit differently than I do, and maybe yourself, I don't know. But so if they have that opinion, I tend to listen to their opinion.
Yeah.
So there is an element to think, okay, Adam appreciates this a lot more. But I mean, this was no Kingdom Come at the end of the day. So, But here, you mentioned buying the physical book.
Yeah.
Perfect chance to remind you, Scott, and everyone else in the chat, if you want to buy this physical book, there is an affiliate link in the description below.
For the paperback and the hardcover?
Just the paperback, no.
Oh, okay.
Hardcover's for next week.
Right. Sorry.
I will keep an eye out for an audiobook version of this because I would like to know more. Like, if someone out there wants to read it for me and describe the pictures rather than me having to look at them. If you do that, Scott, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I will listen to that and I will enjoy it because I want to know what happens. I just can't. I can't do it.
I'll even read the field notes on the side. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up, guys. I think it's time for everyone's thoughts and scores. Liam has just joined in. He is, sup peeps, am I late? No, you're not late.
Bit.
So yeah,
a little bit.
You're not late for the score because I know he's read it.
You're not late for the end.
Yeah. So
is it the end or are we starting again?
Whoa!
Welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club.
That'd be
like run the intro again.
If only we were that smart to orchestrate this kind of thing.
We've already established we aren't never.
No, yes, true. But yes, guys, if you've read this book, do give us your score. We'll add it all together and we'll add it onto our score for the final score. So, Shane, you are first. Please tell us your score and why.
So, I scored this as fair as I could because I usually score. I mean, I changed the way I score because of this, because I didn't want to be super negative towards the art, because had I scored it how I normally score a book when I finish reading it, I score it how much I enjoyed the book as a whole. But for this, I had to remove the art from the whole to score it fairly, because it's not fair. So I've got like minus points for the art, and then I worked my way back up into pluses with positive things in the book.
That's not fair at all.
Well, I started on a minus 20 because of the art.
Minus
So
20.
minus 20 for the art because
way.
I did not enjoy it. And then I worked my way up. I really enjoyed the story. I love the world building. The character of Meru was great. The concept of having this secret organization of kids with powers that they raise to be like spies and assassins, and that's fantastic. I really enjoy supernatural powers or abilities in my books and TV shows and movies. I think that's such a good concept. It's been done loads of times, so it's not an original concept, but when you do it to the point where they don't just exist, they're not just secret, they're actually manipulating everything from media to people's thoughts to entire planes full of people's memories, just completely erasing them. That's a really good idea. The concept's great, the world building's great, the writing is okay. I wasn't too fond of the interactions between some people, but that's, when the world building is that good, when the story and the idea is that good, and the pacing was great, everything. I can't praise the story enough. The only problem I have is the art, so we've already said that, so I'm going to ignore the art. With the story, because I enjoyed the story so much, it helps it go from negative into a plus. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 because I did really enjoy the story. The art, not at all.
I am surprised. Can you just go back to like other things we've read that had bad art and just change your scores for them as well? Can you?
No, because they had like that was still art. This is like not art.
Right. Okay. There we go. 7 out of 10 from Shane. Phil, what you got?
Kind of agree with Shane. Like, I feel like this story, if it had better art, could. I mean, dare I say it? I would probably score higher than Kingdom Come. You know.
Don't you dare.
No, I'm not. I'm not even trying to blow smoke up your backside. I think I enjoyed the story that well to the point that I would want to buy and read on. But the art is definitely a big no for me. I can't separate the art. I remember whenever you done the intro page a few weeks ago, and we had mentioned the art looks terrible, and Shane just says, "Well, I'll just read it, not look at the pages." Like, I can't separate the art from the writing, because we all like storytelling, and the medium is comic books, which includes art. So I have to kind of encompass the whole thing, and it does lose a lot of points for me because of the art, but the story is really good, and I do feel disappointed in the for the story, because it doesn't have the art to match that level of story. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's my only issue with the art. It's not that it's really bad, it is, but it's just that it doesn't match. It's complete, chalk and cheese, really. And I'm really torn what to give this, because Shane's give it a 7, and that kind of betrays the idea that the book's really good, like a really top, class book. And I'm sitting on it. I was sitting on a 6 before the show, but listen to some of the stuff that Adam in particularly has said throughout the thing. I feel like I want to appreciate it more. So I'm going to go up half a point to 6.5.
Okay.
But I'm not going to read on. But 6.5, and I'm done with it. As Shane said, you can read this as one go, and it ends. You don't have to read on. You've got your story. So 6.5, I'm sticking with that. That's good.
Okay, all right. So 6.5 for Phil. Okay. So people in the chat. So we did have a score before the show from someone who couldn't make it. It was from Branded One Arch, and he gave it a 7.5. He said he loved the art style because it reminded him of some of the old kind of newspaper comics from back in the day. The story bored him at first, but then developed nicely. He gave it a 7.5, and we'll read it again. And I'm assuming we'll read onward as well. So that's cool. Then we've got everyone in the chat. Where have you gone? So the first one we had was John. He gave it a 3 out of 10. Just didn't get it. Couldn't follow the story and wasn't super keen on the artwork. That's fair enough, mate. Not every book is for everyone, and that's totally fine. Connie, I'm going to give it a 6 because I liked it. And I will read on, but not writing home about it. So average score, 6 out of 10. Okay, cool. Thank you. Adam, I personally loved the art and thought it was strong from a storytelling perspective. It does some things that you could only do in comic book form, and it's so clever / imaginative. It's a 9 from Adam. Awesome.
Wow.
Then we got Martin. The art wasn't for me personally, but I enjoyed the story. It's a 6 from me. Okie dokie. And then we got Liam. He says, I think I'm going to give it a 6. The first 3 issues didn't really grip me, but the last 3 hooked me, so I do want to keep reading. The art was okay, different and worked when in places, but other times it felt out of place. And then we have one final one from Omnifrog. Thank you for joining again. 8 from me. Enjoy the art. A great story to the series with a good mix of questions and answers. I will continue on.
There's a wide range there, isn't there? Between all of us so far and all the guys in the chat, yeah.
3 is the lowest, 9 is the highest, which is really interesting. Okay, my score. I honestly do think I need to go ahead and read this again. I feel like I've missed out on stuff. The fact that I've missed out on the field notes things has actually annoyed me. I like to pride myself on attention to detail kind of thing, but I just completely missed writing up the side of a page, and I'm actually quite annoyed. But
dropped the ball.
I did. I dropped the ball there. But yeah, like Phil said earlier, I like a story that makes me think. And this was kind of clever, and it did kind of have a time travel-y aspect to it in a Groundhog Day kind of sense, where it just mess with the mind, send her back to the very beginning and have Meru have her all start all over again. I can look past the art. I mean, at the end of the day, I could tell what was happening. It was watercolor. It's a style we don't really see unless it's Peach Momoko doing a cover. But so it was fine. Everything, the environments animals, wherever, anything that was happening was cool, apart from, I think, the people, they weren't really drawn very well. But like I said, you could tell what was going on, and that was fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can talk about the story because I've clearly missed so much, and my head wasn't in it. But I got the gist of it. I got the base layer of what the story was trying to tell, and I didn't really pick up on any deeper details going on. But I'm really going to try and not let that deter my score. My score has actually gone up since we've had this chat, and I'm going to match Philip, and I'm going to go with a 6.5.
What were you sitting on before?
6.
So was I. There we go.
Yeah. Oh my god, friends. Okay,
Twins.
so scores are in. We've got we got a 6, a 7.5. This is from the audience. 6, 7.5, a 3, a 6, a 9, a 6, and an 8, and that gives the audience an average of 6.5.
Oh.
So adding that to Phil's 6.5, Shane's 7, my 6.5, we get an average of 6.6 altogether. So for Mind Management Volume 1, let's go ahead and see where that sits on our leaderboard. Is it on the top 10?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Just so it pushes Kaiju's score off, taking 8th place.
Bye-bye,
Sorry,
Shane.
And then for anyone else interested, here is the rest of the leaderboard as well. I'll leave that for a bit there. Guys, what do you think of that score? 6.6.
I think it's fair. In all fairness, I think don't want to use the word interpretation, but I think everyone. It's not quite the same. But everyone takes something different out of the book, and like we kind of scored at similar scores, but for very different reasons in different ways. Like Shane scored high for the story, low for the art. Where Scott, you scored lower for the story, but appreciate the whole book as a whole, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fair. I like it. It's not, like I say, it's no Kingdom Come, but
You wouldn't know. You hated Kingdom Come.
I scored it higher than this, didn't I?
Not by bloody much. 1 point.
It had better
1
art.
point. 1 point. It's got 1 point better art than this book.
If Alex Ross was drawing this book, this would get a 9.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go. It is what it is. It's got 6.6. Thank you everyone for joining. We will now go ahead and tell you what we've got coming up next week. It is Phil's pick, and here it is. So, Philip, for all of the podcast listeners and everyone else, what are we reading next week?
Well, to celebrate like Valentine's Day, I wanted some romance book, So what better way to do that than Sex Criminals, Volume 1? It's going to be a romp. I know that.
Oh, very good.
You hope it is. Jeez. Well, there we go. That's what we're going to be reading next week. Sex Criminals. We will put that live on the YouTube just a sec, so you can set a reminder if you'd like. But that has been it. Let's go ahead and say what we've got coming up on each other's channels. Shane, what's going on?
Dawn of Comics Quiz Night 16 still has a live viewer competition. So if you head over to my channel at Dawn of Comics, you can watch the quiz and enter the competition and win a prize.
Nice.
Phil?
If anyone help me give me the answers, I can't figure out the second character. So if you know, let me know as well.
What about you, Phil?
I actually have something, guys. I have a video.
No way.
It's coming out tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I've got 2 or 3 recorded, so I'll just decide tonight which one I want to do. But there will be one tomorrow.
Nice.
If there's not, I will. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to forfeit. No, there's one tomorrow.
A particular time?
Just whenever I can do it.
Okay.
I mean, it's there to watch any time at your leisure. For breakfast, maybe not. Dinner, supper, bedtime. Thanks.
Right. That's okay. And then for myself, nothing coming up, but Comic Airwaves was on last weekend. So if you've missed it, go ahead and watch it. Go to my channel. It was a hell of a laugh. Phil and I had a lot of fun. We spoke to Kevin Wells, the creator, writer, and artist of The Last Einherjar, which was a really cool story. And then I did the auction as well in support of Crones and Collectors. So go ahead and watch that as well to see what people picked up. But that is it from us. There's only one thing left to do now, and it is to get your waves out.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Love you.